And now, War Dawgz News with Captain F and Captain Nutting. With Surge of the Scourge, the sports guy. Captain Frog with his editorial. And Admiral Frenchie with politics. And now, War Dawg News.
Good evening, I'm Captain Nutting.
And I'm Captain Neff. Our top story, former President Carter has broken a long-standing gentleman's agreement among ex-presidents not to criticize current presidents, at least until they're dead. In a recent magazine interview, Carter called Bush's administration the worst in history.
Well, it takes one to know one, I guess. And in entertainment news, Ding Dong the Witch is dead. After contract negotiations have failed, Rosie O'Donnell will not be renewing her contract with The View.
What? No fucking way.
And in other news, Britney Spears is still an insane, flaming lesbian slut. At least in my opinion.
And now, here is Sergio, Juan, Bradley Bates, Sergio Cantu, Amanda Nutting, Brett Mauser, E. Bogey Lopez with sports.
Hi, what's up?
Al Gore's electricity bill.
Airfare out of Iraq?
My schlong.
Okay. Today marked the opening of the country's first women's-only mini golf course. The owner said the course was not designed to be women's only, but the males players just couldn't seem to find the seventh hole. Back to you, captains.
And avoiding the controversial topic of politics this week, Admiral Frenchie will be weighing in on his opinion of this week's sports story. Admiral?
Und andere Zeitung, in der Sportwortabonnent ein neues Golfwas von nur der Frauen. Nur für die Frauen. Vielleicht für die Kanzerfrauen. Doc Martens vielleicht. Essen der Carpet vielleicht, ja. Vielleicht ist der Butchgolf, ja. Der Butchgolf. Die Männer sagt, sie können nicht Hole 7 finden. Aber Hülle 8 können wir finden, ja. Ficken Frau Golfer, Schwaner, Schweine, Juden.
And now a new feature to War Dawgz News. Introducing the matriarch in her cooking segment. Take it away, matriarch.
Thank you, Captain. One day I'll eat the flesh from your bones while watching an episode of Family Guy. Hello, loyal subjects. I'm the matriarch with today's delightfully tasty recipe I call Southern Fried Woodland Creature. To make this wonderful treat, begin by finding the cutest, cuddly woodland creature and slaughter it in the most vicious way you could find. I prefer strangulation with a garden hose, or bashing its head in with a blunt instrument like a lead pipe or a candlestick. I find that the more exotic a weapon, the tastier the dinner. Now, while gunpowder residue can often flavor a woodland creature with just the right amount of sweetness for this recipe, you'll want to let the herbs and spices handle the job. For tonight's demonstration, I've skinned and butchered this cute and adorable baby chipmunk. Use the breast meat for this particular dish. Okay, so begin by dripping the breast in a small bowl of 2 eggs and splash with buttermilk. Then once the breast of the woodland creature is nicely coated in egg buttermilk mixture, roll it around in some store-bought breadcrumbs. Of course, I recommend making these from scratch, but I understand that some of you are often in a rush and don't have time to make this from scratch. Continue by heating about 2 tablespoons of oil, or perhaps the fat of the animal you've just mutilated. Then fry the breadcrumb-coated breast in the pan until nice and brown. We're going to let that sit while we prepare the gravy. Again, for those of you on the go, just pick up some country-style gravy from your grocery store. You can usually pick them up for 3 packets for $1, and it usually yields about 2 cups. Now, once the gravy is prepared, get some green beans and warm them in a pot. Drain the juice from them and put about half a cup in the cream gravy and the beans to mix. Once it's finished, serve the breast on a beautiful warm blanket of beans, and then you'll have a nice, quick, southern-style fried woodland creature. Back to you, Captain.
Yeah, thank you for that. You're a sick, maniacal, psychotic uber bitch.
And now, Captain Frog with this editorial.
Thank you, Petunia Pussy. So Jimmy Carter is criticizing another president. Jimmy Carter criticizing another president. Isn't that like Rosie O'Donnell criticizing Star Jones for being fat? See how I made that analogy? Star Jones was on The View too, and she was fat, and now she's pretty hot, you know? Well, not real hot, but I'd still fuck her. Well, maybe with a dick I borrowed from Bill Clinton, but I'd still fuck her. Alright, I'm not going to spin this rant defending the Bush administration. I'm taking this time to ask, what the fuck? This is the same president that in 1969 claims he saw a UFO and demanded that then CIA head George Bush Sr. to hand over all UFO files. No shit, man. The president who let American citizens remain hostages in Iran for 444 days is bitching about another president. The president who let OPEC bully us into a gas shortage. Not high gas prices, a fucking shortage. You want gas? You can go down to the store and pay for it. It may cost a fortune, but you can still get it. Under Carter, you couldn't get it. No shit. But where is the media pointing that shit out, huh? Look, I'm the last person who should be bitching about someone else. You want to bitch about the president? It's your God-given right as an American. But you, Mr. Carter, of all people, should have the common sense enough to sit down, shut the fuck up, and shove a deli fresh fucking pastrami sandwich in your fucking pie hole. See? Notice I didn't tell him to shove a pastrami sandwich up his ass, huh? Because while I think the sorry son of a bitch almost destroyed this country, I still give the man a shred of respect. No, not the man, the office. So, Mr. Carter, you want to bitch about President Bush and call him the worst president in history? How about pulling yourself out of an Alzheimer's-induced coma and open a fucking history book and look under the disaster called the Carter administration? Look, President Bush is not the worst president this country has ever seen. You were, all right? Have we all forgotten about the shit you put us through? Oh, but President Carter has done so much for the poor people. He built them houses. He is out there building houses with his own bare hands for the people. Well, so fucking what? The man is a carpenter. Congratulations. That qualified you to be a great president? You know, I built a house with my bare hands once. Well, not me, but the fucker who plays my voice did. Does that qualify him to be president? No, and believe you me, this is one fucker you don't want to be president. Yeah, his ideologies and principles are pretty sound, but you could kiss our foreign relations with countries like Germany, Italy, and France right down the fucking tubes. All right, back to the president that Jimmy cracked corn. Have we forgotten the bravery and the courage this man showed when he was attacked by a fucking rabbit? A rabbit! A fucking rabbit! Even a cowardly Frenchman like me can go head-to-head with a fucking rabbit. And no, this wasn't the fucking rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This was an ordinary, average, teeny-tiny little fluffy rabbit. Attacked the President of the United States. Shit, if I was the leader of a fucking country that wanted us dead, and I was wearing a turban on my head, and I saw the leader of the country I wanted to destroy attacked and beaten by a fluffy little rabbit, you bet your ass I'd grow some balls the size of Clinton's 5-star intern black book. You got attacked by a fucking rabbit. And you're from the fucking South, Mr. President. You should have had that little fucker on your dinner plate that night. You know what would have happened if President Bush was attacked by a fucking rabbit? That's right. He would have cooked that fucker up right in the fucking rose garden on the spit of the size of Cuba, man. And then he'd have invited Tony Blair over for a good old Texas-style barbecue. Look, you want to bitch about President Bush? That's fine. But if you're going to call him the worst president in history, do your fucking research, all right? When it came to anything, President Carter sucked a big fat donkey dick. Big juicy monkey balls, and I think once he sucked a gopher tit, but I can't be sure about that, so don't quote me on that. But seriously, you want to call Bush the worst president ever? Look at the numbers. A lower unemployment rate than President Clinton ever saw. Fact. The Dow is at all-time highs. Fact. Tax cuts are raising tax revenues. Fact. Prime lending rates are remaining around 6%. Fact. Yeah, boring numbers and statistical data, huh? But it's fact, motherfucker. Look it up. You may not like Bush for whatever reason, but he is not the worst president in history. The numbers prove it. I'm sorry, but they do. Well, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you, cuddly cunt.
You're welcome, you chauvinistic, arrogant son of a bitch. That's it for War Dogs News. I'm Captain Nutting.
And I'm Captain Neff.
And I'm Froggy.
Good night.
Bye-bye.